Alright, hello, welcome back to the stream, everybody. Make sure my settings are all correct here. Always something you gotta worry, again, about the stream elves coming and messing up your setup. But anyway, today we're going to be working on getting this guy into the game. So this is the cannon goblin that I was drawing with you all in yesterday's stream, and he does not yet have any sort of implementation into the game. So that's what we're going to be working on today. We'll be cutting up his various body parts, which sounds kind of metal, and animating him with the animation player in Engine. And then we'll also give him his attack patterns, make him spawn in the graveyard level. And I think that will basically be it for the graveyard in terms of content, because I could show you the skeletal snake has been basically completed. I still have to go back and do the sound effects for everything. But this was the last enemy that I wanted to add to the graveyard, and then the graveyard is now going to be content complete outside of a few extra environmental details that I want to do. So that means that probably this week we'll start on creating content for the third level, the third and final level of Gunforged. The goal is to get that done within like a week or two so that the game can be content complete in terms of the environments and enemies. And then we'll spend the rest of the month adding more affixes and passives and random encounters and all that kind of good stuff. So again, the goal is to have the game content done by the end of December, and then spend the month of January really tightening the game mechanics, fixing any outstanding sort of game design issues. And then hopefully that will be done in time for a end of January or February release. So that's the timeline that we're on, and we're making good progress, so we're going to continue that today. So, before I get into it, I want to remind you all again that I've got my Udemy courses linked in the description below if you'd like to learn how to build a complete game in the Godot engine. You can also wishlist this game Gunforged on Steam so that you can be notified when it releases. There's also a demo available on the Steam page, so please check out the demo and play that if you're interested. And let me know if you have any feedback. All right, so let's get right into it. Hello, Viper J. On a different stream, you said that you used a GameMaker engine. To me, it seems like a lot of developers are ignoring it. Seems like it has a lot of features, so I was wondering why you haven't. I mean, you're right that GameMaker has a ton of features, and it's relatively easy to use. The problem that I had with GameMaker was mostly its scripting. It doesn't really have the traditional sort of object-oriented scripting capabilities that I'm used to and that are powerful. And even when I was using GameMaker, there were no, like, for example, built-in vector functions, which sounds ridiculous, but it's true. And so that just made, like, there was a lot of boilerplate that you had to do yourself, a lot of third-party scripts that you had to bring in. And even then, the scripting still wasn't that good. There's not a lot of good ways of structuring your code and systems in GameMaker, so it just makes the actual backbone, building the backbone of games, really difficult. And so I switched to Godot because it has basically all of the 2D features that I want and more, like a proper collision system, built-in API for vector operations. Godot just handles a lot more out of the box for you, pathfinding and all that stuff. But then it also still offers the flexibility that you want. So that's why I moved to the Godot engine. It's just a lot more structure, a lot more feature rich, and still gives me the freedom to build the games basically how I want. Hopefully that answer helps. That's not to denigrate GameMaker at all. I think it's a right tool for some people in some games, but it's not for me. Good morning, Chad. Welcome back. Good to see you. Hello, Christopher. Good morning. Good morning. All right, let's get this guy all cut up. So I don't think, let me think here. I think what I want to do is, yeah, I'll probably just cut up all these pieces here. So let's do this. First of all, let's get this guy centered properly. Get this guy centered properly. Then sprite canvas size. Let's do something like, just gonna trim down the canvas size a little bit here. Make this a little bit more sensical here. Okay, that'll work. I can delete this reference layer. Okay. Export that cannon goblin there. So I have a onion skin that I can use. And then I'm going to go ahead and just export all these things. So file scripts, GASPI, export layers, save sprite, okay, go. All right, all those layers are now exported, so I can bring that into Godot. And let's go ahead and create the scene. So character body 2D. This is the cannon. Oh wait, I already have a cannon goblin, don't I? I think I do. I do, so I can just build off of this one. Oh, look at that. Okay. So I need a node 2D under here. Oops, not under there. I already have one here, okay. I'm losing my mind today. I was up a little bit too late last night playing Path of Exile again, so I need to stop doing that, but that game is so addicting. Okay, so there's the cannon goblin. Hello. I already said hello to you. Chad says, never heard of Path of Exile till you mentioned it the other week, and I'm loving it. Good, yeah, you on Path of Exile 2, I'm assuming? Yeah, it's so much fun. There's a lot of people that don't like it, but I think it's great. These streams are so cool. It's rare to talk to developers directly like this. Thank you for sharing your time. Yeah, for sure. Thanks for being here. It's a lot of fun. Yeah, I would especially love it if like developers who have sold like a lot of copies of their games, I would love if they streamed a little bit more. It is kind of like a, you know, I understand why people don't stream, because I think there's a sense in which that could kill maybe hype for your game, or if you have a particularly cool idea or hook. I could understand being worried about other people taking that idea and publishing something before you. So there's a lot of like pro developers that don't stream or don't really show anything at all, which I understand, but I think that's a shame because it would be nice to get an inside look. And it's not just game development either. Like I would be fascinated if professionals from all kinds of different disciplines would give you like a behind the scenes regular look at like what their job is. Like, you ever wonder what like graphics card chip designers do every day? Like, what software do they use to design the chips? How do they test it? How do they manufacture the early you know, the early prototypes for the new chips and boards and stuff? It's like, seeing how something works at that high of a level would be really, really fascinating. Anyway. All right, so let's see. We'll get the head in here. So I'm basically just going to, again, set this offset so that it's a little bit sensible. Basically, I want the pivot point right around where the neck is going to be. Okay, and then I'm going to take the movement tool and I'm just going to go ahead and place it right where it should be. So there's the head. I'll go ahead and make that invisible so I can see the rest. Okay, so now the body. We'll make this rotated like in here somehow. I don't know to what extent I'm going to animate each part. I may make it so that each body part, or like some body parts are just grouped together in terms of their animation, but we'll see. Okay, so we've got the body, we've got the head. Okay, let's get the feet in here. So we've got leg front. That'll work. That goes right there. And then let's go ahead and get the leg back. Leg back is going to have to go behind the body. I don't know where to put this. I guess that'll work. Boom. All right. So now we got to get the hands in place. So this one is going to be, it's going to be a little bit tricky, but let's go ahead and do that. So again, let's get a sensible pivot point on this. I think the sensible pivot point is probably right on the arm here. Yeah. Okay, and then there we go. And the hands will go in front of everything. Sweet. Okay, so now I can delete this sprite back here. That's just my onion skin. And now I've got all the individual pieces hooked up and positioned exactly as it should be. So now it should be relatively simple to animate. Now, I did want to play with the idea of while this guy's running, it would be really cool if he like, I guess that can work. But I was thinking it would be cool if he could like hold it like this somehow. While he's running, so you can see his face a little bit better. It also looks a little bit more mischievous. The problem, though, is I need to figure out what to do with that arm piece if I were to do that. I guess that wouldn't be too difficult, but probably just cut the arm and make that a different piece, and then have it just, I guess, kind of just like point to wherever the hand is. But anyway, let's just start with this. Let's get our animation player going. New run animation. Okay, I'll set that to loop and auto start, snap to 0.05. Okay. I'm just thinking. I do think that I should take this position and rotation here. I do think that I should do this. I do think it would be funnier for him to run like this. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And then the reset animation should put it back. Yeah, okay. I'll figure out what to do with that arm piece in just a little bit. But I think that this is going to look better. So now for the body here. The head is in front of the body. I think rather than animate the legs separately, I think what I'll do is... I think I'll just put those both on the body, and then this leg back needs to be rendered behind the parent. There we go. So I'll just animate those as one piece. So now if I move this around or if I scale it, then all those things are going to be scaled together. Because the legs are so small, they don't really need to be independently animated, so... Okay. When's the next playtest? Would love to get some feedback again. The demo has been updated, so with my most recent devlog, the demo has been updated, so you can go and play the demo now. It's significantly different than the demo that existed a year ago. But in terms of like when the demo is going to be updated again, probably closer to release. If you want to cheat, you can just atlas the texture and pull the individual parts out of it without re-exporting. Yeah, I guess I could do that. Did I hear that Godot can be installed on a Quest VR headset and you can program in it? I did not, but that's really interesting, actually. I have a MetaQuest 3 that I haven't used in months. I might actually end up selling it, but we'll see. Maybe there won't be a buyer for it. Good morning, Brackheck. VR is cool and all, but man, it's just like, I don't know, there's something about it that's like, I don't want to wear the headset all the time. But, you know, that's how it goes. So the body, yeah, I'm just trying to think of like what kind of animation to do here. I think if let me just start with some stuff. We'll just fumble our way through it like we usually do. Rotation, go. Oh my gosh. Gotta add a key here. So obviously that's too much of a rotation. Okay, so why is that? I guess my animation is just... We gotta have this at least. Let me check something. I don't know how I'm doing my rat animation, so I want to see how this looks. Oh, I'm animating it like that. That's interesting. Okay. So it does go up a little bit. Okay. All right. So I'm going to need to do that. So I might do that then. Let's see. Body position. I'll have to animate everything else with it, but that's all right. So body position, it needs to go up. -17. Okay, yeah, this can actually probably even be higher. There we go. That's looking all right. I can change that to cubic. Can you leave it on wrap, the interpolation there? Ooh, perfect. That looks pretty good. I'm gonna actually turn off the hand so I can see better. Nice. Very nice, very nice, very nice. Okay, so now I gotta do the head. So let's get the head situated. Transform position. Transform scale. No, not scale, rotation. Okay, let's first get the position to match a little bit. I do want it to lag behind the body a little bit. So let's do this -24. And then it needs to also lag on the back end as well. Okay, perfect. We can exaggerate this a little bit probably. Yeah. Those curves are probably a little bit too strong. Yep, okay, this is gonna look a little bit better too when I add some rotation. So he jumps up, we'll rotate the head 20 degrees. Yes. Maybe 25 degrees or 30. And then instead of going back to 0 cleanly, we'll maybe just add like a -5 degree thing there. Yeah, so it's got a little bit of a snapback now. Yep. I think that's looking pretty good. Now, of course, the question is that going to look decent in game here? I'm going to kind of, let me try reversing this. 20 degrees there, 0 degrees there. Ooh, yeah. That's a little bit better. Okay. So up, I want it to hold its position there a little bit. Up, yeah, there we go. And then this rotation that happens here comes up. Yeah, these keyframes are just a little bit weird to me. Up, down. Maybe what I need is not to wrap that loop interpolation. I think what I need to do is bring this back to, well, let's see. It's 20 degrees there. Do I need to bring it back to 20 degrees here? I think what I need is like an explicit 0 degree right there. And if we turn on wrap again. Or I can turn on clamp and then move this up a little bit. So that looks a little bit better. It looks like he's snapping on the ground properly. What happens if I delete this key and go back? Oops, I don't want to delete the whole animation. I think that looks better. Yeah, that'll work. That'll work. Okay, we can focus on the hands now and see how this is going to look for the run animation. But I want to see how it looks in game first. You did all the animations in Godot instead of making animation sprite sheets? Yes, I do. So I'm not good at frame-by-frame animation yet, and also frame-by-frame animation takes a long time. So what I'm doing for all the animations in this game, for all the entities, is just cutting them up into pieces and then animating them with the animation player. And the benefit there is that if I want to change an animation, I don't have to redraw a bunch of frames. I can just come in here and change the keyframes instead. And I think it also adds a little bit of charm to the style. Animation sprite sheets can be good if you want to change the composition of the pixels. Otherwise, the Godot animation tool works just fine. Yeah. Yeah, you do need to configure it. That's true. You can add a ton of character animating some movement and rotations. Yeah, I think it's working. It works great for this game. Honestly, I'm probably just going to... this is probably going to be a signature aspect of what you might call my style, in quotes, is like... I might just do this kind of animation for all the games that I make because it's really fun to do. I think it produces nice looking animations, and also it's a very time saving. I do need to get good at frame by frame animation at some point, but okay, now the hands here. There's this little part, this little arm part. I should probably get rid of that before I go any further, if I'm going to animate it like this, but I was going to check it in game first, so let's go ahead and see. The reason I'm going to check it in game is I just want to make sure that the animation looks all right. Before I would go any further with it. So spawn cannon goblin. Ooh, yeah, look at that. Looking pretty good. So yeah, I just think that produces like really nice animations, you know? It's... yeah, it just looks good. So what's going to happen is he'll be carrying this bazooka on his shoulder like this. He'll square up, he'll lower it down, and then what he'll do is shoot and like knock himself back. And then what he shoots is going to be this giant cannonball thing. Like that. So that's what's going to happen. I wonder why that's not... it's not like animating in. I guess I'll have to add some kind of animation for it, that big cannonball to bounce in, but anyway. So that's kind of what we're looking at. I think it's going great. Room size rect. Hold on, let me do something real quick. Hub arena. Dungeon arena. I removed something from that, so... yeah, the room size rect. Needed to go away. Okay. Let me actually commit those. Re-save arenas. I just removed a node from the inherited scene, and so it was producing a warning. This warning right here. Node room size rect was modified from inside an instance but has vanished. I'm getting these nav mesh synchronization errors too that I don't know how to resolve, but that's all right. One thing at a time. Okay, yeah, so for these hands here, I think I am going to take this and I'm gonna rename this arm front, put it there. So now the hand piece here doesn't have, it doesn't have any arm related aspect to it. So that means that I can re-export all this stuff. So scripts, export layers. That's gonna save over that bazooka, get rid of that arm there. But it shifts everything down, you see that? So that's why I wanted to get that out of the way early, because I didn't want to do an animation based on that position and then have it shift. So now I actually want to, let's go to the reset animation. I probably want to change this offset a little bit. The offset and the position here. So I think something like that is a sensible offset. Yeah. And then the position, we'll just put it there for now. So I need to copy this value. I need to put this into there. All right, let's turn on record mode so that I can take these hands here. And I'll just put this in a good spot, like so. All right, so now it's just a matter of animating this during that run cycle. I'm just thinking exactly how I want. Well, I'm thinking a little bit too far ahead. I should just focus on this. I was thinking about how to get this to aim at the player and how to ready up that animation. Do blending if necessary, but I'm not going to focus on that right now because that doesn't have any bearing over how this animation ultimately ends up looking. So let's just go ahead and up, and then let's maybe give this a little bit of a forward rotation. No, that's too much. Maybe we'll do backwards rotation. Yes. And then we can do like a forward rotation. Like so. Change that to cubic, change that to cubic. Actually, I think that probably looks fine. Maybe that top piece is moving a little bit too fast. Or that tilt, I mean, is happening a little bit too fast. Maybe I'll just do... Yeah, I think that's a little bit softer now of a tilt. All right, cool. So let's see how that looks in game. All right. Hello, Danye Live. Are you self-taught or did you go to college? I'm on the edge of going to college for a CS because I don't care about the degree. I just want to be a game dev. So I would say, I mean, I did go to college, but I would say that the majority of the stuff that I've learned came from being self-taught. So I had already been doing programming for a while before college, and so I was already familiar with it, to the extent that when I got to college, I basically just like breezed through the first couple years because they weren't teaching me anything new. So I was like skipping class and just doing the assignments and just blowing through the coursework because I already knew what I was doing. So it was kind of a waste of time. I did learn some interesting stuff in college, but not worth the amount of money I paid for it. So, but it also depends on where you're at too. Like, are you in the United States where it's going to cost you an arm and a leg? Or are you in a place where your college is paid for? Because that kind of feeds into the decision making as well. I would say that my general opinion is that computer science, software engineering, these kinds of fields are like, college is the least valuable for those kinds of fields because you can take a Udemy course built by somebody that's a professional who has actually worked in the industry that tells you all the modern ways of building something. Meanwhile, your professors in college are going to be teaching stuff that they did 20 years ago, maybe. It's just like there's just a complete night and day difference. Like when I went to college for computer science, well, it was digital simulation programming, so there was a focus on game dev, but none of my professors had worked in the games industry for like years at that point, and none of them knew what modern software development looked like. So I didn't really learn any real world skills at all. I learned a lot of theory. I learned how certain algorithms work. I learned how multi-threading works. We even made a compiler at one point that could compile a language called Shakespeare, but none of that is useful. It's just like, I mean, I guess the algorithm stuff is useful, but like knowing how to write a compiler for a very specific profession, maybe that would be useful, but it's just like, it might as well have been a waste of time. So anyway, those are my opinions. I can't really make the decision for you, but my opinion is that going to college for a software engineering or adjacent kind of role is kind of a waste. That's why I should also mention that that's why like these boot camps that you hear about are so popular. You pay like, you know, anywhere from like $6,000 to $10,000 for a 16-week program, and the entire point of the 16-week program is here's how you build modern software, and then they also have apprenticeships programs where they like plug you right into the workforce. I don't know if anything like that exists for game dev, probably not. But game dev is just much harder to get into generally, so I don't think that going to college for game dev is going to give you any more of an advantage than learning it yourself. That's my opinion, though. Still looks extremely fluid and alive. Thank you, yeah. Xenomator. How's the C# Godot so far? It's going well. It's, yeah. Going good. Let me actually put this guy in the level so we don't so we have something to look at. So there's the animation for him. It's looking pretty good, actually. So now I just got to get the animation where he readies his cannon. Good day, Vishal. How you doing? Does college teach Git yet? Well, when I was in college, and keep in mind, I was in college from 2013 to 2017. So it's, some time has passed since then. But we learned SVN, which was really confusing for me because I was already familiar with Git, and the way of doing things in SVN is just so different. So I remember I just had the hardest time. I kept clobbering my changes and deleting stuff on accident. But I don't remember being formally taught Git. We were taught SVN to some extent, but yeah, that's what I'm talking about. I'm not even sure that many college professors could teach you how to build a modern, React app, right? Or show you, what database frameworks there are, or how many of them even know what NoSQL databases are. That's the problem with college. It's their profession is working in college, and they're going to be the ones teaching you how to work a profession that's designed to build a SaaS app or something, or a game. It's just there's a mismatch there, right? My experience is that new college grads have good fundamentals and not great practical modern skills. Yeah, I think that's probably correct. But, yeah, I mean, the thing about, the theory side of it is, that's just not useful that in most modern software engineering roles. Do you know the amount of times I had to think about big O notation when I was developing SaaS apps? 0 times. 0 times. Now, I probably was implicitly using it, put the proper indices on databases, for instance, right? Don't do for loops that are 4 levels deep nested. Those kinds of obvious things, but modern software development, it's you're not thinking about that stuff. Modern software development is about capturing data and shifting it around. And that's about it. You're not writing these massive algorithms that are, supposed to be super performant. I mean, obviously there's exceptions, right? There's bleeding edge companies, but at the point that you're going to write a very sophisticated algorithm, the first step you would do is find a third-party resource that's already implemented it. And in that case, you're still not thinking about big O notation because that has already been thought about in the process of developing that library. So, I don't know. I don't think the college model is working for modern software development. I know the original question was about game development, but I'm speaking more to what I'm experienced with. So, recent bootcamp grads know how to plug stuff together but lack fundamentals. Yeah. Programming is always about learning. College fails with such tasks, or suck tasks. Every day something new happens, languages get updates. Yeah, that's a good point too, is that the industry is moving faster than the college professors realize and can keep up with. I'm in the US and the prices are insane, but I think you gave me the answer I needed. Thanks a lot. I'm definitely going to check out your course as well. Yeah, I'm the new Bracky. Oh my goodness, is that the best compliment I've ever gotten? I'm the new Bracky? Wow. I don't know if I can accept that compliment. That's quite a high bar, but I appreciate it. It's very nice. But yeah, I mean, I would encourage you, the other thing is the problem with the US college system is everyone is pressuring you when you're 18 years old, you got to make a decision which college you go into, apply to all these colleges. It's I don't know, my opinion, if I had a son or a daughter who was going to college and didn't really have a good grasp on what they wanted to do, I would be take a break. You can wait. Take a year. If you want to see how learning programming goes on your own time and by taking cheaper courses, that is an option too, assuming that your life circumstances allow for it, right? Your parents will let you stay at home and all that stuff. This is all conditional, but it's you can take a year and just try to learn programming on your own and game development on your own and pursue that interest. And you can work a part-time job while you're doing that to help pay your way, to help your parents out with the bills or whatever. And if you find that that works really well, then, you know, there's nothing stopping you from applying to different companies based on your skill set rather than your credentials. It might be a little bit harder, but it's like the only cost at that point is spending your time, right? You spend your time to learn, you learn as much as you think you can, with spending as little as you can, and then start looking for opportunities for jobs. And you might find something, and then great, you don't need college. And if you don't find something, then you can reevaluate, well, maybe college would be good to get the credential or whatnot. So you have options. It's not like, I think we tend to push like this single track, like you go to elementary school, then you go to junior high, then you go to high school, then you go to college. And if you deviate from that at all, you're going to be a failure. And it's like, that's not right. We shouldn't be thinking about the education system that way. Depends on the college course and curriculum. Modern software development is usually some framework usage. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, modern software development is not really about the fundamentals at most companies. It's about finding the packages and frameworks that are going to accomplish what you need and then stitching it all together. That's what I mean when I say it's mostly just data shuffling. Now, I'm not trying to minimize the fact that a lot of it is highly technical. I'm just saying that if you're writing components in a React app front end, most of the critical stuff, the overwhelming majority of the critical stuff, has been abstracted away for you through the use of frameworks and packages and all that stuff. Now, certainly when you get into things like designing cloud infrastructure, that requires a little bit more technical knowledge because you can do that wrong. You can have security holes, you can have all that kind of stuff. But again, that doesn't require a credential to do. You can learn that on the job from senior engineers. You still need to learn it. I'm not suggesting people just go Wild West with their cloud infrastructure, but you know, there are multiple ways to learn this stuff. And my experience working as a software engineer was that the best way that I learned is I just collaborated with the senior engineers. I would just hit them up, either when I worked in an office or on Slack, and I'd get on a call with them and I'd just be like, I have all these questions. Can you explain to me how this is working? I think this is working this way, but I'm not sure. And the senior engineers were always like there to say, yep, that's right, or no, that's wrong, or no, here's the approach you should take, or actually you don't want to set up the infrastructure that way because there'll be X problem here. That's the way that I learned. My bad, meant such. Gotcha, yeah. I think with game dev stuff, after you learn the fundamentals for free, cheap online, it's just a matter of looking up what specifically you need to learn. Yeah, I think that's right. I learned most of the stuff on my own from free time from school. Now I'm in university the second year and yet nothing new happened to me. OOP starts on the second semester. Yeah, I think that's the thing. It's like, if you're like me, and a lot of people are, you probably picked up programming when you were like 14 and then you fell in love with it immediately and you just started doing it nonstop. And then by the time you're 18 years old, you already have like a good amount of experience such that when you get to college, you're shocked at how easy it is because they have to cover all the fundamentals again. Once you have the first job in the industry, it gets easier to move up. Yes. Yep. Getting your foot in the door is the hard part. Yes. Yep. Yeah, that is definitely true. Where did you learn how to make a goblin waddle? That's a good question. I didn't learn it any specific place. I just kind of fiddled around with the animations until I got out to work. So, yeah. A lot of people just equate college with success, but nowadays college seems like act like a business, so it can be destructive, pay for it if you're not sure what you're doing yet. Yeah, I mean, it's a trade-off, right? You have to weigh the costs. Like, I was fortunate enough, I went to a very cheap college in my state. So I had the in-state tuition bonus, but it also was just cheap, just across the board. And also I got a tuition scholarship, so I never paid tuition my 4 years that I was there. So all I was really paying was room and board, which was cheap. So, and I did that. I mean, I got accepted into a college that would have cost me $30,000 a year. And actually a couple of colleges that would have cost me that much. And I decided not to do that. They were more prestigious schools. They were schools with more amenities. They were larger schools. They had more facilities and all that stuff. But I decided I'm not going to come out of college with $80,000, $90,000, $100,000 of debt. Like, I don't want to start my adult life with that much in the hole. So I went to a college that wasn't as nice, was a lot smaller, and was a lot cheaper. and I don't regret that decision one bit. So, but it's all up to, you know, you gotta play the hand you're dealt, right? Maybe you've got a better opportunity. Maybe you get a tuition-free scholarship at a really nice school, and then it's like, well, you may not learn as much as you're hoping to learn at college, but why not take the free ride, you know? It's like, it's all about just looking at what you've got going on and making a decision from there. Hello, Instakill Ann. How was my day? My day is good. I just started. It's morning here, so I've only been up for like a couple hours now. But so far, so good. Knock on wood. Hopefully nothing terrible happens. But no, it's going well. Glad to see you again. And I'm glad to hear that this stream is cozy. I'm going on a little bit of a rant mode right now. You guys got me on a subject that I'm a little bit passionate about, so hopefully my opinions are not too incendiary. I learned how to print hello in college. Very nice. 12 Principles of Animation. I'm gonna have to look that up. I haven't heard of that. Is that like squash and stretch and anticipation and all that stuff? I may know a couple of them, but I really need to do more animation research. I think that would help me a lot. Seedsification, hello, welcome to the stream. Good to see you. Grab your popcorn. Hello, Nanda. What is a good way to animate UI elements? I tried to animate my UI using the animation player node, but has a bug that resized the control node. Yeah. So this is a notoriously difficult problem in Godot, and it's a problem that I've only just started to resolve with a custom container. So I'm going to give you like a really quick breakdown of how you can do this. So the problem with animating UI elements is not with UI elements, just generally speaking, it's with container nodes, because containers, they automatically forcibly resize and reposition their child elements. And so if you try to animate anything that is a child of a control or of a container node, then you're going to run into bugs most likely. So the way around that is to break the chain. So instead of trying to animate a child of a control node, you want to animate something whose parent is not a control node. And so what I did is I actually created a pass-through control. Let me see if I can... Where's a good example of this? So I created this thing called a pass-through control. And what this is this is a custom script that basically takes the container size flag information of its child and automatically resizes itself to be in accordance with that, that sizing. But because this pass-through control that I wrote does not automatically reposition its children, I can now freely animate any child within that. But a simpler way of doing this is to, like, let's say you've got a container node like this. So this is an HBox container, right? The simpler thing to do would be to add a control node here, like so, and then add the element that you want to animate underneath that. And now you've broken the chain, right? So the control is going to be automatically resized because it's a direct child of the container, but the control does not, it's not a container node, so it doesn't resize its children. So now you can animate this texture rect however you want, and it's not going to be affected. So animating UI is really a game about manipulating the scene tree to break those sort of dependencies that exist between containers and their children. So that's just a general, like, really high overview of how to do that effectively. It's a lot easier said than done, though, because yeah, it's kind of a little bit wonky. I wish Godot had like an official way of animating UI, like something like my pass-through control that was officially supported to sort of like break those dependencies for you, or like explicitly mark something as animatable. But yeah, I love watching streams with not that much viewers. It feels more lively and cozy when the author talks with audience. Yeah, admittedly, it's getting a little bit harder to do as my view count is going up, which is great. It's great to have everyone here, and I love the back and forth, but you'll notice that I haven't gotten any work done on Gunforged in like 10 minutes, but I am enjoying the conversation, so that's, it's quite all right with me. Hello, Tangible. Welcome back to the stream. Good to see you. From my experience, school and college is just to get papers and you learn the most in free time. College can give you some opportunities and direction though. Yeah, I think that's probably a point that I tend to underemphasize too, is that depending on which college you go to, it can be a great networking opportunity as well. If you establish a rapport with your professors and they like you and they know people in the industry who they can connect you with, sometimes the prestige of the college is just enough to get you interviews and stuff. You know, a hiring manager comes from the same college that you did, so like there's an interview, right? Colleges also tend to host events as well, especially the bigger colleges. So they'll host talks by people who are in the industry that you want to get into. They'll sponsor like events to various conferences and whatnot. So I think, yeah, that's a good point. The networking aspect of it is something that I tend to underemphasize. But again, that's also situational, right? Depends on which college and which industry you're trying to get into. I'm worried if I might, wait, I can't read. I'm worried if that I might make a subpar goblin waddle. What do I do if my friends learn my goblin waddle isn't adequate and they laugh at me? The answer is you ignore them and you waddle away. I just started looking at how to make games this week and YouTube showed me your stream 2 days in a row now. Wow. That's nice. Thank you for the IDR 20,000, Nanda. I very much appreciate that. You are welcome. I hope that my explanation was helpful and yeah, I hope it goes well. Thank you again for the super chat. That's very generous. Okay, so let's get back to this. So now I can make a aiming animation here. Now what I kind of want to do is I want to maybe add an intermediary animation. I think I want to add an intermediary animation, but how is this going to work? So what I want to do is because if he's running and then I stop him so that he stops animating, he's just going to snap like that, and that's going to look really awkward. Now, it might actually not look awkward. I might be able to just animate the hands myself. Yeah, so let me think about this. The tricky part is that I want to take over the animation of this hands component here, or the hands node. I want to take over animation of that in code at certain points so that I can aim it at the player. But when I call the reset animation, it snaps the position here. So what I might want to do is duplicate this and call it like reset custom maybe. So duplicate the reset animation, call it reset custom, and then delete the hands from that. And the reason that's going to be nice is because if I'm running, oops, what happened? Yeah, if I'm running like this and then I set to reset custom, it stops the body but keeps the hands where they are. And then what I can do is I can animate the hands how I want with code. So I can bring the code. Yeah, I think that's gonna work. Okay. So I think I'll just animate it with like a tween or something. Yeah, okay. So I need to keep track of this hands position here. So what I'm actually gonna do is add a child node, marker 2D. I'm going to call this hands position, and I'm going to put this right on the transform. So 6 and -12. 6, -12. So that's going to serve as like my source of, my source of truth here where the hands should be. So as the thing is running here, And then when it stops, I can call reset custom. That's going to snap the body, but that's fine because it's not that noticeable. And then what will happen is I'll take these hands during this phase and I'll bring them over back to the position where they're supposed to be, and then also rotate them towards the player. Oh, you know what? That's not going to work either. Is that going to work? I think I should probably change the offset of this a little bit. Yeah, I think I probably should change the offset here, just to bring it back a little bit so that as it rotates, well, maybe I don't want to change the offset. Maybe it's the position that I want to change. Make the offset out more. So I moved it out 4, and then the offset should be, oops. Yeah, move that out 4, and then the transform position, bring that back. Okay, yeah, that looks much better. Okay, so now I gotta change some things here. Okay, and then since this offset has been changed by 4, I think I need to do 9 there, and then 15. Okay, so everything's back to normal. So now I can go reset custom. I can bring the hand position, the hands over to the hand position there, and then also rotate it. Oh, the hand position is wrong now. There we go. Yeah, sorry, I'm just trying to figure this out before I commit to something. Okay, that's gonna work, I think. And then of course he'll flip vertically or horizontally when this ends up being on the other side. Okay. All right. Let's see if we can get something working here. So I'm going to start setting up the Pathfind component and everything like that. Debug draw enabled, I don't care. Max speed. Let's do 90, acceleration 7. Debug mode, no. I need to change the health, but I'll do that later. Hit flash group component, health component there. Actually, I will up the health a little bit. Okay. Do I have everything I need? I think so. All right. Maybe I'll commit what I have. So what do I need here? I need the hands positions. Hands position. Let's grab a reference to that. Hands position. Attack timer, let's get rid of that for now. I need a state machine now. Private delegate, or no. Yeah, private delegate state machine. State machine equals new. Private void state, let's do enter state normal. Private void state normal. Private void leave state normal. State machine dot add states, state normal, enter state normal, leave state normal, state machine dot set initial state, state normal. Okay, so in the state normal here, what I'm going to do is var player is equal to, let's do this, var target this dot get player, global position, global position. I need a reference to the pathfind component. Pathfind component dot set target position, target pathfind component dot follow path. Okay, in the process method, process state machine dot update, and then also velocity component. I need a reference to the velocity component. Velocity component. Velocity component. Oh, did I call it velocity component component? Very nice. Dot move this. Okay, is that correct? I think so. Let's see if that much works so far. What was that mug? The mug, it's a Death Wish Coffee Company mug, if that's what you're asking about. Rotated around the character. Sorry, I missed these messages. Or that works too. Okay, I'm gonna assume that everything's good. But if you have more feedback, please let me know. Okay. All right, the cannon goblin is now moving. Now he's not flipping or anything, but that's fine. I want to get the attack state working here, so attack timer, auto start one shot. Okay, so let's do this. Enter state normal if attack timer dot paused, attack timer dot paused equals false. If attack timer dot is stopped, let's do state attack, enter state attack, leave state attack. Private void, enter state attack, leave state attack, and we need the standard state attack, private void state attack. Okay. So in the enter state attack, what we want to do is we want to play animation node private animation player private static read only string name anim reset custom, and let's do anim run as well. So in the enter state attack, we're going to do animation player dot play anim reset custom. Okay. And then at enter state normal, we're going to do animation player dot play anim run. So now during this state attack, what I want to do is I want to, first of all, let's create a tween. Var tween is equal to create tween. I need to tween the hands to the hands position. So let's go ahead and grab that. Node private sprite 2D hands. So in here, in this tween, we're going to do tween.tween property hands position to the final variable, which is hands position.position. Double duration, let's do 0.4f dot set ease type out dot set transition tween.transition type dot cubic. All right, that should be fine. And then in the state attack, we're going to do, let's turn this down a little bit. I'm going to create a new timer in here. We're going to call this attack wind up timer. One shot, we'll make it 0.4 seconds. Private timer attack windup timer. Okay. If attack windup timer dot is stopped, we also need to start it up here. Attack windup timer dot start. If attack windup timer is stopped, then I'm just going to do this on attack timer timeout. Get rid of this, put that in leave state attack. That's going to create the bullet. I'm going to remove this or rename that method at some point, and then otherwise we want to, in this state attack, let's call velocity component dot decelerate. And then also we want to change the position of the, of where the hands are pointing. So, direction to player is equal to hands dot global position dot direction to this dot get player, otherwise global position, or let's do hands dot global position. So that's going to give us our direction. Oh, this needs to be dot global position there. So that's going to give us our direction to the player. Now, the simple thing to do would be to do hands dot look at direction to player. But I think I want to do a lerp in the global rotation. So hands dot global rotation is equal to mathf dot lerp or lerp angle. Yeah, I probably want lerp angle from hands dot global rotation to I think I can just do direction to player dot angle. And then the double weight, we have to do a frame rate independent lerp. Bar delta is equal to float get process delta time. I think that's what I need to do. Hold on. Right, yep. Times some kind of smoothing, so let's just try 3. So that's just going to smoothly rotate the hands toward the player direction, I think. I guess I don't really need this. Yeah, I probably don't need that. All right, well, I guess let's just go ahead and see what happens. I either messed that up. Well, let's do one more thing. Add the facing component here. Node to scale visuals. Okay. So that facing component will flip things. Private facing component, facing component. So basically, in the normal state, what I'm going to do is facing component dot update. This is going to be the global position plus velocity component dot velocity. And then in here, though, in this state attack, facing component dot update. Global position plus direction to player. I think that's going to work. I mean, I probably should do it based on this hands global rotation, actually. plus vector2.right.rotated hands.global rotation. Okay, well, let's see if that works. I'm skeptical. I'm sure I did something wrong here, but only one way to find out. Okay. Oh my. Well, the good news is he appears to be flipping correctly. I don't know if you can see that. But it's not supposed to be doing that. State machine.change state normal. Forgot to do the state change. See, I told you I'd forget to do something. Ooh, look at that. That's looking really good. Obviously, he's not shooting in the right direction. But the way he stops and he winds up and he aims, yep, it's looking good. So this attack delayed timer or attack windup timer, I'm actually going to increase this to 0.6 because that's looking really good. And then this on attack timer timeout. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just rename this to shoot. And the bullet needs to spawn in the correct spot. So I think I need here, I need to add a marker 2D. I need to put this at the end of the barrel here. And this is going to be the barrel position. Let's go ahead and mark that as a unique name. We'll grab that private marker 2D barrel position. And that's where the bullet is gonna be. So the direction here, so bullet.global position is equal to barrel position.global position. Okay, then the direction here, this vector2.right, needs to change. So var direction is equal to hands dot, well, let's do vector2.right.rotated hands.global rotation. So it's going to be in the same direction as the hands are facing. We can put the direction in there. And now we should be able to observe a little bit more of a sensible attack pattern here. Not enough bullets, yeah. Does your turning component change its parent directly? I'm trying to build my own, and I'm trying to decide whether the component changes the parent directly or returns an updated variable. Yeah, so what I do in my facing component here is I am applying a scale to a node that I specify. So in this case, I've specified the visuals node, which is here, and then it just scales the X value. So it's just applying a scale to the node directly. But the reason why I create this extra visuals node is so that I can apply a scale to that, and then I can apply scales independently to these things for animation purposes. So basically this visuals node is only for the purpose of flipping the entire thing around. So just doing this. But the nice thing is that because that's the node being scaled, I can do my animations on all of these parts, and I don't have to update my animation at all, right? Because it just flips the entire thing. It'll be cool to see bazooka gun parts in the game for the player to use. Yeah, I think I have that written down as something that I want to do. Ooh, he got stuck. Why did he get stuck? Is he colliding with things that he shouldn't be? I think that smoothing needs to be a little bit... That smoothing needs to be a little bit faster, I think. Obviously, he needs like a knockback animation as well, which actually should be relatively easy because I need to add a knockback component here. Knockback component here. Main velocity component, health component, hurt box component. Do I even need the health component anymore? Knockback component. Am I referencing this anywhere? I'm not referencing this anywhere, so I can actually remove this. Goodbye. Don't need that anymore. That's going to simplify things a little bit. So what was I doing? Oh, right. I want to increase the smoothing value here. Not to 43, but to 4. And then let's go ahead and try this. Hello, Darth Pedro. Hi. Welcome, welcome. Good to see you. Ooh, yeah, that's looking good. Obviously, I still have to draw the bullet, but... Ooh. Maybe I should make it even faster. No, maybe not. I mean, we'll have to see how it works in game. Now, the knockback component here... Sorry, I'm just trying to think of something here. Spider Centaur. Knockback speed 80. Rat, let's see, knockback speed 80. So what I'm thinking about doing is, I have this public knockback here, but the interesting thing is that this accepts a knockback speed, but then there's a knockback speed here. So I'm wondering if this first argument should just simply be a multiplier for it instead. Maybe that's not necessary. Maybe that's not, yeah, maybe it's not necessary. I'm gonna just try this. So if I do leave state attack, what I'm interested in doing is grabbing the knockback component here. And I'll probably create like an animation for this as well. But in here, knockback component dot knockback. Let's just do like 130. And knockback direction is going to be this, except negatived. And then decay multiplier is 1. That's fine. So I'm curious to see how that feels. So he's just gonna get knocked back a huge amount after shooting. I'm hoping that's gonna look pretty good. Boom. Ooh. Okay, that's a little bit awkward, but that's all right. He's not quite getting pushed as much as I want. Let's bump it up to 200, and let's try turning that decay multiplier down to 0.75. Because I want him to, like, fly back, but I also need to add a new state, like a knockback state for him. He's not flying back as much as I would hope. Also, that facing direction is not correct. So I need to actually change that. This says use player as reference. Maybe I can just do that. Instead of adding the global position plus the velocity. The reason why that was flipping is because when I knock him back, the velocity flips the other direction and that updates the facing. So I should probably just use the player's reference there. I mean, I should probably use... yeah, maybe that'll work. I don't know. Doesn't need to be perfect, but gotta fix the fact that he flips around when you hit him with a bullet. Okay, so he's getting knocked back, but not as much as I would like. So how do I actually need to fix this? Decay multiplier, default knockback duration times. Oh, I need that multiplier to go up, not down. Well, that doesn't make any sense, but that's all right. 2. So hopefully if I make that slower now. Actually, you know what? Let's go wild. Let's do 4 seconds. Once I get this knockback in place, I will add a different state for him. Whoa, where are you going, bud? Okay, that's more what I was thinking. But it also still looks kind of awkward, so turn that down to 3 maybe, and then turn this knockback down to 150. Oh, that looks good. Doesn't feel like it's decaying smoothly enough, though. Ease type out, circ, tween velocity, percent, default knockback duration. Oh, I think I just found a problem in here. Did I find a problem? Oh, maybe not. Velocity component velocity. Why is it lerping between those things? So the way it's working is it's taking this, the knockback velocity, and it's looping it to the velocity of the main velocity component. And this here, this is just all wrong. Decay tween.tween callback. Callable.from. So that can go there. This lerp here, velocity override. This should just lerp to 0, I think, right? What happens if I do that? Vector 2.0, and then in here, main velocity component dot velocity. I'll just set this equal to 0. I have no clue what that's going to do, but let's figure it out. Obviously, that's going to have broad impact on all the knockbacks in the game, but I think this is going to make it more sensible. Maybe not. What in the world? Let's try cubic as the easing there. Yeah, I think that'll work. Why is that not working? That doesn't look right at all. Default knockback duration. That's 0.15. I'm setting the multiplier to 3, so it should last 0.75 seconds. I think I messed everything up, but I'm gonna fix it. I think the velocity is just decaying really quick. Maybe I need to do a more extreme easing. Maybe I need a more extreme easing here. I was doing cubic. Maybe I need to ease in. What happens if I do an in ease type instead of an out ease type? I don't think that's gonna work, actually. I was wondering, if there's a game I really want to make, how much will I have to learn new skills? When is the borderline to say I should just spend all my savings on hiring someone? I would not recommend spending money on hiring people until you're confident that you can make a game that will recuperate those costs. At least that's the way that I'm thinking about it. I'm speaking as somebody who hasn't made a whole lot of money making games, but like, I think what is most important is you need to prove that you can make money from games first. And only then should you consider spending lots of money on your game. Again, this is coming from somebody who hasn't made much money making games, so take it with a grain of salt, but the only things that I'm spending money on for this game are like composers for the music, which is relatively cheap. But yeah, you need to establish first, at least in my opinion, the way I'm approaching it is I need to establish that I can make a significant amount of money from games before I even consider hiring somebody on like a contract, a longer term contract position. So that's how I'm thinking about it. Again, you know, take it with a grain of salt, but ooh, there we go. Yeah, that looks much nicer. I just had the wrong curve on it. So now he's got like a decent knockback there. And now let me just spawn a rat and see that the rat looks good too. Well, I think the default duration now needs to be upped a little bit since I made those changes. Yeah, that looks better. Okay. Look at him go flying. Whoa. Okay, so I can increase that speed again now. This is looking much nicer. So 200, and maybe I'll turn this down to 2.5 instead. So he'll go faster but spend less time in the knockback. Haha, look at him. Oh my goodness. Nice. Honestly, he probably should be even faster. Turn that down even more. 250. He's spending too much time in the knockback state. Yes. Goodbye. Oh, that's great. Oh, look at him. Boom. All right, there's a couple of things that need to happen here. First of all, he needs a shadow component. Should I do like 12? He needs a shadow component, and then let's go into the graveyard and see what he looks like in his natural habitat. Yes. Oh. That's gonna be nasty. Boom! Ooh, this is gonna be a tough boss. Especially if there's like spawn, cannon, goblin, 3. If there's like more of them. Oh, buddy. Oh, they're so cool. They don't have the ability to die yet, though. Oh, they're so cool. They just square up and just blast away. Maybe I don't even need an animation. Like, I think the knockback serves as a good enough animation. If I add like particles for the muzzle flash, and then also obviously I have to do the art for that big square. I think this is gonna be great. Yeah. I recently saw your channel, really like it. I'm from Russia and don't understand 70% of what you say, but I still like it. I wanted to say that you are a great artist. Thank you, Mr. Pamelka. Very much appreciate that. And welcome to the stream. I guess this is a good way to learn common American English, is to not understand a lot of what I say, but your English is very good, so I hope you know that. And thanks for joining. Good to have you here. It's a tactical retreat after shooting. Yeah, exactly. That actually adds quite a bit of dynamism to the gameplay, because you're going to want to get out of the way of that bullet, and then by the time you've gotten out of the way, they've put a lot of distance between you and them. So that's really cool. You kind of have to chase them down a little bit. Which I really like. I'm watching you on my lunchtime. Well, welcome, Red Velvet. Good to have you here again. All right, let's make those guys die. So first of all, I want to commit what I have. Okay. So I'm going to commit that, and then let's go ahead and add a Gibinator component. I think this is supposed to go under visuals. Health component path there. Sprite paths. Let's just go ahead and put the body there. Let's put the head there. And then we'll put the hands as well. Okay, let's see if that Gibinator just works by default out of the box. Oops, wrong one. Yep, that works. Sweet. Just very easy. The component is called the Gibinator because it takes all the parts of the sprite and just puts some like blood particles on them. I want to redo that at some point because I'm not quite satisfied with that effect, but it's fine for now. It's kind of funny, actually. I never really paid that much attention to that effect, but the way that they just explode into bouncy little bits is kind of fun. Okay, so the Cannon Goblin is good. One thing that I want to do before I forget is add it to the Graveyard Arena loot table here. So instantiate enemy pool item component. The slime appears on wave 11, so we'll make this guy appear on wave 14, I suppose. So wait, we've got the skeleton appears immediately, mushroom appears immediately, the skull will appear on wave 3. Maybe I'll up that to 4. The zombie will appear on wave, let's do 8. Just paste these around a little bit easier. Let's get the slime on wave 11 is fine. Yeah, and this is going to be the Cannon Goblin. So you start with skeletons. I might introduce the mushrooms on wave 1 or wave 2. Then I can push the skull out to wave 5. The zombie can be wave... Well, maybe I shouldn't do that. I'll keep the mushroom at 0. Skull can come at 4. Zombie can come at 8. Slime can come at 11. And the Cannon Goblin can come at 14. Or I could do 15 here, and then slime can be 11. Yeah. I just want to pace those good enough. So the idea is that I want there to be enough interesting things happening during the wave. So basically you're going to be introduced to a slow trickle of new enemies all the way up to wave 15. And then waves 15 through 19 are going to be all of the potential enemies that you can fight at once. And then the boss, the skeleton snake, will happen at wave 20. Now, I did not show you the skeleton snake, the updated skeleton snake. So let me show you that real quick. 30% understanding is already good starting point to improve. Speaking from my own experience learning English and Japanese and German. Yeah, I agree. Hello, Mr. Pumpkin Guy. I came across your channel pretty recently, and so far I love the game you're making. Just wanted to ask, how long did it take to learn to code? Well, that's the thing. Is like, I mean, I'm still learning a lot, not as much, but I'm still learning stuff about coding on the periphery, I guess you could say. But I started when I was like 14, and I just kind of did it on my own basically since then. So like, I don't really have a specific timeline. I think what I would say is that when I really started getting confident in my coding abilities was when I started working full time and just being thrown into trial by fire and learning from senior engineers and everything. So I would say that if we start with when I professionally started working as a software engineer, I would say it probably took 2 or 3 years for me to become very comfortable with coming up with my own solutions to various problems in a business context. And that's when I really started paying attention to the quality of code and making sure the code is nice and sensible and architected decently. So it takes like basically 2 to 3 years of full-time effort is kind of what I'm getting at. But again, I had more background before that, so I don't know. I don't really know if I can put an exact number on it, but I would say roughly that. You should definitely be thinking on the timeline of years. You're probably not going to become a very good programmer in 6 months, outside of a few like prodigy genius cases. But I think you should be thinking on the timeline of years. Just when you thought you figured it out, a new enemy appears. Yes, exactly. All right, let's go see the skeleton snake. I want to show you guys what I got here. I want to show you what I got. Spawn skeleton snake. So here's the snake. It snakes around the level as its name implies, and then it chases after you and shoots these, those bullets. Oh, and then it spawns these bone spikes all over the map. So this fight is basically just a matter of like stay away from it when it's chasing after you and shooting like that. But also you got to figure out how to corner it and get some damage in. And you can shoot any part of the snake, so it's not like you need to target the head or anything. He's a little janky still, but I'm gonna see if I can figure out how to smooth out his movement stuff. I think if I just make him slide along walls a little bit better, it's gonna be good, but yeah, look at him snake around. He's going wild! So yeah, I'm really curious to see. I might add one more attack to him, but so far I think it's fine. He's got a lot of health too, so it's mostly just going to be a matter of positioning, running away, getting him in these corners here so you can get some good shots off, dodging the bone spikes, dodging that aggressive bullet attack he does. Oof. Like that one. That one's super dangerous because he just gains a lot of speed and charges right at you and then starts spewing bullets, so you really got to keep your distance or dodge, because there's enough gaps in the bullets to dodge. I also haven't made a death animation for him yet, so I guess he's not finished, but... But yeah, I think it turned out good. I got the snake movement down finally. That was the hardest thing to do. I'm editing a deep dive video covering the process of finishing this boss. Or I added the snake behavior and all that stuff. But I think this is like, this snake here is, I think, a shining example of how the composition pattern can be so useful, because if I had based all of my entities, let's say, on an inherited class that was assuming some kind of bipedal or just like kind of an enemy that walks as the pathfinding, then implementing something like this would have been basically impossible. And also all of the segments here are individual hit flash components, and they have their own hitboxes. So each of these snake segments are like their own entity, but they share a singular health component. So they can all intercept collisions, but they all trigger the hit flash at the same time, and they all subtract from the same health pool. So anyway, it's just really interesting. Anyway, hello, would it be possible to peek at your hitbox scripts if you don't mind? They're quite long, but I can peek at them real quick. Let's see. Hurtbox, I'll just bring this up and I'll just scroll through it, so if you want to go back to the VOD, you can pause. But there's a lot of very game-specific stuff happening in here, so I'm not sure how useful this is going to be, but I'll peek it for you. So there's the Hurtbox component, and then the Hitbox component. So again, if you want to take a deeper look at this, I don't know if I can adequately explain it, because like I said, there's a lot of unique stuff in here, like add status to apply, add statuses to apply. Like that requires me to explain a lot of the broader systems to explain what that's doing. And also, to be honest, I don't know if I could read through this and explain every line exactly how it's working, because it's so complex, but hopefully that helps. You can go, like I said, you can go back to the VOD and pause through that scrolling, but maybe that'll give you some ideas. Dreams ruined, 6 months not enough, yeah. Your console to spawn objects, is that something custom? Thank you. Yeah, it is. So basically when the game starts up in debug mode, I scan the entity directory and I load up all those scenes into a dictionary, and I convert their file names to IDs. And then in that debug console, I basically just do string parsing. So if I write spawn as the first word, it goes into the spawn branch, and then the second word is assumed to be the ID, and then the third word is assumed to be the number that I want to spawn. And so it just takes that ID and looks up in that dictionary what the scene path is that corresponds with that ID, and it just spawns it right at the player position. So it does take a little bit of foresight and planning to get that kind of thing to work, but it as long as you keep following the pattern, any scene that I add to the entity directory will be automatically picked up at runtime as something that I can spawn with the spawn command. Interesting take could be that he loses size each time his health goes below a specific threshold, so each time he's harder to hit over time. I thought about doing something like that, but honestly, the snake was so difficult to get right in terms of the movement and just like the snake-like behavior that I'm just kind of like ready to be done with him. But I could do that. Maybe. I'm sure doing snake movement for the first time is not easy. Yeah, it was terrible. It helps, thank you. Just bought your course on Udemy. Thank you, Robin, I appreciate that. What are the main benefits of using C# over GDScript? I think the main benefits are just personal, like project organization, using abstract classes, interfaces, that sort of thing. I just find that C# personally adds a lot more structure that I need, especially for more complex games like this one. I mean, not to say that this game is super complex, but I've got a lot of systems that are doing a lot of things, and so having a very clear, like, strongly typed system, or statically typed system, which tells me basically what the shape of all the data is and where it's flowing, and I have these nice, like, oh, where is animation player, or not animation player, where is delegate state machine being used? Find all references, right? And like I get everywhere in my project where this is being used. Just like this kind of stuff, it greatly accelerates my ability to be productive, I think. So that's the reason. 2 weeks ago, I started learning GDScript. Did my first programming experience in 19 years, but I will say it's interesting. 90% of training content is in English, but I try. Yeah, I think it's a good idea. I mean, personally, if you're not an English speaker or not a very good English speaker, I think it's definitely worth learning English because, like you said, that's where like the overwhelming majority of the really good resources are in English. So you'd only be doing yourself a favor learning the language, but you're speaking English just fine. So you've already got that down. Sounds like a legit reason. I don't blame you. Yeah. Do you have issues with C# with some Godot plugins you can download? I find that most of them are made for GDScript. You can't, but here's the thing. You can call functions in GDScript files. Like GDScript and C# are fully interoperable. So you can call a method in C# from GDScript, and you can also call a method in GDScript from C#. It just takes a little bit of kind of awkward use. Like for instance, I have this attack timer here on my cannon goblin here. This is a type of random timer, which is actually a GDScript here. And what this random timer does is it allows me to specify a min and max wait time. And then when I call start random, what it does is it assigns a random time. So, but I'm using C#, so the way that I need to call that is you have a string name, which is the start random, so that's the name of the method. And then all you have to do is do attack timer, for instance, in here, dot call start random. And that calls that method on that GDScript function, or yeah, in that GDScript file. So you can definitely make plugins work, but you have to do some like roundabout ways of getting it to work. Should have a built-in move like a snake function. Yeah. Well, I mean, what I ended up doing is I ended up using a curve 2D. So Godot has a curve 2D, which basically has a bunch of baked points inside of it for Bezier curves. And I basically just log a point to that curve 2D every frame with the head position. And I let it get to a certain number of points, like a couple hundred points or whatever, and then as it starts exceeding that number of points, I start removing points from it so it doesn't become like tens of thousands of points. So every frame it's adding a new point to the curve 2D, and then what I do with all the rest of the snake parts is I just make them follow that curve 2D. based on it, they're offset away from the head. So if you stretch out the snake into a long line, you know, okay, the head is at 0, 0, and then the next segment is 24 pixels away, for instance, and then the next segment after that is 48 pixels. And so if you log a point inside of the curve 2D every frame where the head is, you can sample that curve then based on the offset of each of the body positions. So the head is going to have an offset of 0, which means that it's going to be right at the latest point of the curve 2D, right? But then if you go 24 pixels down the curve, it's going to tell you what the rotation and position of that body segment needs to be at that point in the curve, right? And then you do 48 pixels away from the end of the curve, so on and so forth. And then because you're logging every point in that curve, it just ends up being that all the body segments follow the head perfectly, right? Because you're literally just going along the same path that the head was going. I find GDScript great for getting things up and running fast, but C# has a lot more structure and features like extension classes. Yes, I think that's exactly right, Jackie. I think that's exactly right. Welcome back, or welcome to the stream. I don't know if you've been here before. Haven't seen your name in the chat, but welcome. Okay, is there something that I want to do with this cannon goblin right now? Let me just check on some things here. Obviously, I need to draw a new projectile for it. Yeah, I need to draw a new projectile, add some particle effects and all that, add some sound effects. But yeah, overall, I think it's looking great. I think it's working good. All right. Oh, right, I added the cannon goblin, yes. So add cannon goblin to graveyard pool. Okay, well, that's going to be it for the stream today. I'm going to go get some lunch, but thank you all for watching. I very much appreciate it. It was fun hanging out and chatting with you all as usual. Once again, if you'd like to support my work, please check out the links in the description below. I've got 2 Udemy courses linked there, one for GDScript and one for C# that teaches you how to build a complete game in the Godot engine. If you'd like to support me in other ways, you can wishlist Gunforged. You can subscribe to this channel, like the video, watch my other videos, all that good stuff. And you can also subscribe to my email list at firebelly.com. I think I'll be writing an update to that email list today at some point. So if you're interested in that, I just kind of write like little blogs about my progress. So if you're interested in that, you can definitely sign up there. And otherwise, it was great to have you all here. And I hope you have the great rest of your day. And I will see you in tomorrow's stream. All right. Bye-bye, everyone.